Hi, good morning. It's Cheryl Leong from the Business of Property. Hello, Property Development Australia, and anyone that's joining us this beautiful morning in sunny Sydney or wherever you are in the world and in Australia. We are doing a special session today. We're doing a demo session of National Property Data, which is a new software that has been released, which a lot of people come to me all the time and in the community around what research software should I be using for my projects. And we have from National Property Data, Martin Guillot, who's going to run us through a bit of a demo. So if you've got questions and anything that you have, questions, comments, please pop it in the chat below, wherever it is on your screen. If you're watching the live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever you are, please ask questions. The more you ask questions, the more Martin's going to be able to guide us in the right direction and to answer them as well. And so you can make a comparison as to which software is going to suit you best. But without further ado, Martin, please join me on the Business of Property dance floor. Thank you.
Hello, Cheryl. Hello, everyone.
Hello, Martin. So tell us a little bit about why National Property Data was created.
Well, National Property Data comes from anyone in New South Wales may be familiar with EAC, so the Estate Agents Cooperative, and Red Square. So Red Square was born sort of early 2000s, late 1990s, and it's the New South Wales equivalent of some of the property data providers that are out there. But just New South Wales. And in about 2019, it got updated to National Property Data, which is the product of National Property Group. And so Red Square has been sort of upgraded and updated to go national. So currently we have New South Wales, Queensland, Vic, WA is about to be launched, and with a view to go national as soon as possible. And what they've done is they've brought all of their expertise that they've gained with property data since the 60s of the Estate Agents Cooperative in New South Wales, and brought that forward to today and being able to offer another product with some unique data insights, which hopefully we'll get a chance to have a look at today. But in terms of a data that can be used by developers, there's some really great little innovations there that you won't find anywhere else at other data providers.
Yeah, fantastic. So we have road tested quite a few other different software in the community. So this will be really good to see how, what the functionality, how it sort of works, like how user-friendly it is. So let's go for a little bit of a test drive, shall we?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
By the way, thank you very much for this opportunity.
You're very, very welcome, Martin. The floor is yours, and I'll just pop in with any questions either from myself or the audience. So again, anyone that's listening to us at the moment, please ask all your questions. Thank you. Over to you.
Great. Thanks, Cheryl, again for having me on today. It's a pleasure to be able to do a bit of a demo. I am not the utmost expert on national property data, but I will show you the best I can. So there's a couple of things I want to cover off today. So one of which is the property data report, which is where pretty much everything where you sit day to day, you look up properties, you look up maybe marketing photos. I'll take you through a particular property example that I've found, and also I'll take you through how to find that elusive development opportunity. Hopefully we'll show you something you haven't seen before, and then we'll talk about how to take advantage of the latest offer for Property Development Australia. So without any further ado, there's a couple of ways that you go into as any property data provider would have, a couple of different ways you can access properties. One of which is to, as you can see here, search property, street, or suburb. I already know the address of the property I want to search, so I'll just go ahead and type that in, and you'll see that it auto loads the property as we go along, and then it's just a matter of choosing it when it comes along. So here, 19 Adams Street, French's Forest. I can see that there's information on that. First of all, I need to clear my filters. Sorry, I should have done that to start with, as it will come up with a whole bunch of other stuff that I've been preparing for you guys today. So let's start over. 19 Adams Street, French's Forest. and we can go ahead and click on search. It'll take us straight to that property. As you can see here, we're in that property. We've got some photos to look at, but more importantly, this is where you'll see the address and the attributes for that property. There's a little pencil here that allows you to edit these settings. If they are incorrect, you can go ahead and edit it. It'll put in a request, and then we'll make sure in the background that it gets updated if that is the case.
Martin, just on that, that's it, because I know quite a few people do that on softwares like RP Data to update and say, you know, we've added extra rooms or whichever, which then helps a lot of real estate agents, or which they're doing CMAs, to say, oh, the value's gone, their value's actually gone up. Is that the same thing? Like if you update the number of rooms or bathrooms, that changes the algorithm for the valuations as well?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
As you'd expect, if you add another bedroom, and you know, I've chosen a property that has sold, as you can see here, last year, right? About 15 months ago. But if it's a property that has been around, and we'll look at some of those later on, that have been, haven't been sold in the last 10, 15 years, it could be out of date. So, it could say it's a 3-bedroom, but it's actually 4, which would increase its value. So you can adjust that. And there's several different steps along the way where you can adjust it. One would be in the CMA itself. If you know that they've added another bedroom or they've added another bathroom, you can definitely go ahead and do that. So we'll carry on our way through. So we can see here that the zoning is also listed against that property straight away. Very easy to find. That's a unique piece of data that National Property Data highlights straight away for you. Let's click into the photos. As you can see, it drags in the marketing photographs that were used in the last marketing campaign, so you can get a better idea of the finish, what happened inside that house. This one here obviously has been given the full treatment, so it's an absolutely beautiful house in French's Forest. So we've seen the marketing photos. We can also, as we scroll down, we'll see more on the property details. So we can see that this property here, this is another unique piece of data, unique to National Property Data, is the frontage length. So this one here says 66.48 meters, which is a very big frontage, and because it's a corner block, and we'll have a look at the map in a minute. But what that tells you is it allows you to quickly define whether that's a property you're interested in or not. It does help narrow that down. And we can see here frontage count is 2, so it's on a corner. Lot count is 1, which is another unique piece of data. So there's quite a bit of information that is made easily available for you. They have a bit of the property description that has been used in the past. But on that, what you can do is if you scroll down a little bit further, you'll see the ownership and sales history, when it was bought, when, how much, all those details. But as you can see here, view on Homely. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to show on the tab. Can you see the listing on? No, you can't. Okay.
No, it only shows one.
It shows, okay.
One page.
Let me see if I can click that. There you go. So what we're looking at here is the Homely ad. So we've got a partnership with Homely where they supply us with their listing data and all the listing information. And so you can see there that there's a floor plan, all the marketing photos. If we scroll down that page, you can see who the agent was, all the description, the full description, a whole bunch of more information around the suburb. It's really a unique partnership that we have with them, and it's great to have them on board and great to be able to link out directly to that property. So if we come back into our property that we're discussing, which is the 19 Adams Street, we had a look at the ownership information. Obviously, that comes through. Now we know that in New South Wales, we can only get the last name. Since a few years now, it's been limited to the last name, but you can still see who owns it, when that last transaction happened, how much they paid for it, et cetera, et cetera. So pretty straightforward stuff in that respect, but the unique stuff that we've looked at, that's where we feel that NPD really makes a difference. If we continue, obviously we went over the contact information. You need to click on that to unlock it. It'll serve up any contact information that is available. Obviously, it'll come up with do not call register. So, you're bound by the terms and conditions of that, and not to be contacting people that are off that list. Current market.
Martin, just on that, if their details are on MPD, does that mean you're okay to contact them?
Well, it depends. It depends. So if it says do not contact, if they're on the DNC list, you shouldn't contact them. But, there's nothing wrong with knocking on the door and saying, hello, I'm so-and-so. I'm interested in this development opportunity, or I'm interested in having a chat about your intentions for your property. There's nothing stopping you from doing that.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you.
So as we carry on down, no worries. So here we have the current market information history. So we can see all these ads here on Homely, but also every time it's been listed to market. So it gives you an idea of how long potentially that property could have taken to sell. And this one has sold, but you may come across properties that haven't sold yet. And you can see that they've been on the market for quite some time. So maybe there's an issue there. Maybe there's something that, there's an opportunity, but maybe it's not an opportunity, if you know what I mean. So we make our way down this page. We can see that there's the suburb and neighborhood stats here, which is very interesting in the sense that it shows you the stats for French's Forest for year-to-date sales, 132 sales, and that gives us a median of 2.087 million. Number of dwellings, this is according to the census. So you can see there's 4,500 roughly in French's Forest compared to Northern Beaches. So it'll always compare it to the greater, the LGA of where French's Forest lives, which is in Northern Beaches. And again, the median price over the last 12 months, you can see that it's kind of flattened out here. And obviously because November was just last month, it takes 6 to 12 weeks for results to come through for us to be able to display them. But you can see it's sort of flattened out. But we can see the capital growth over the last 10 years is quite strong for that area. And again, it compares it to the Northern Beaches. Any questions on any of this up to now?
No, it's good to see that it's got a bit of a summary about the property. That's excellent.
Yeah, so and as time goes on, that data will compile and get bigger and bigger and give us a better experience as well. So we'll click on this and I'll show you the map very briefly before we get to the development stuff. So if I click on map view, which it'll probably stay on that screen, but I can show you, you should be able to see it now. Yep. So again, as I alluded to at the start, Red Square and now National Property Data is very strong with their mapping, especially starting in New South Wales, but going along to the other states as well as we go. So you can see that the property is here. There are different views on so here's, what you'd be used to, sort of a base map. And you can see that it's on Adam Street and Wareham Crescent. But then you can switch to the Google Aerial, which a lot of people are familiar with. But you can also switch to this one here, 6 maps, 6 aerials, which we have in New South Wales, where we can display. And you might see a little bit more detail on that one. I suggest to have a look, play around. But more importantly, what I really find is powerful, and this is unique again for National Property Data, is the zoning. So I've just clicked on the base map zoning layer, and you can see this color coding that comes up. So if we zoom out, we can see a little bit more of the map and a little bit more of it gets populated with different colors. Now, you're wondering, what does that represent? We can go into, so what do those colors represent? You go into the legend, and it'll show you down here on zoning, that sort of darker red is residential. Then you've got all the different zoning designations there. So it gives you an idea as a snapshot of that property and where it sits amongst its other properties around it and what the zoning looks like, which is pretty powerful when you think about being able to have that information quickly at hand. So we've had a look at the zoning. Let's have a look at the property itself. Let's come back on the six maps. And
so just with that, Martin, so 6 maps, similar to near maps, it's quite current. And how can you see how current the aerial is? Because everyone, particularly if we're looking at development sites, we want to be able to see if there's any development that's happened next door or on that particular property.
well, you can see here that there's someone swimming in the pool. So obviously it was taken recently. I'm kidding. I can't see that there's anyone in the pool. But you can see at the bottom, this copyright here, 6 maps, PSMA 2205, and then 6 maps. So I'm not sure. That's a good question, Cheryl. I'm not sure exactly when the latest photography has been taken, but we certainly update it as soon as we can. And you know what? I can take that back and
yeah, that would
and
be great. Because I do know 6 maps is pretty recent, but it would be good to be able to say, is it how recent? Is it last week? Is it last month? Or is it sort of 6 months ago?
Well, if you see someone in the pool, either they're crazy or it's been taken on
Yeah.
one of the hot days.
Yeah. You know, with the weather in Australia now, you just don't know. It's back to winter in Melbourne, by the way, from what I'm hearing.
Yes, the Arctic blast. So if we look at this property here, our target property, you can right click on that and we can measure, which is another unique tool. You can see the boundaries. I'm not sure if that's visible, but if we go around here, it gives you all the different measurements all the way around that property, which is again unique to NPD. And then up here you've got this print. So if you want to get an idea, if you want to print it off and keep it as a PDF potentially for future reference, you can do that through that print option there, or you can just print it off and have that with you. So that's the measurement tool. You can also, there's other, so if I'm in this property here and I want to see a more basic property, what that looks like and what their frontage is at, or, for whatever reason, I want to know what the area is on that one. Or you can also do measure all marked. So it'll give you all the measurements around. There is a button that you can press that will give you the measurements on the whole map. But I can do a full hour just on maps, which I'm sure would be super exciting for you and your members, but let's not worry about that right now. So any questions on the map up to now? Any questions at all?
And in terms of a measuring tool, I know you've got the measurements there. If you need to do some measurements, is that what that little line thing's on the right?
Yes, thank you. I'll just remove all these measurements here so we can get into it. So there's a straight line tool here or a polygon tool, but this straight line tool, let's say you want to find out, if there's a space down the side, whether you can drive it, put a caravan in, or you want to put a pool in, you single click to start, single click to change direction, and then you can just come back onto it, click the last point to finish, and we can see here that we can fit almost an Olympic-sized pool there. You can also get rid of all of those. You can do, like I was saying earlier, you can find out, let's say for, you want to know how far it is from this forest. You can do a straight line and it will follow you and give you the measurement as you go. So you can really, really define. So you see that's 409 meters away. And it tells you that on the map. Or you can go in there and use the polygon tool, which will allow you to create an area into which you can see, measurements, and the measurements are very precise. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
That's really helpful. That's really helpful there. So you've got measuring distance, you've got measuring area as well.
Yeah. And also a little later on, I'll tell you what, let's do it now, whereby if we recenter our property of interest, and I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. Another one of the tools on this map that's very handy is the radial search. So
yes, that's good.
So you can create a circle, as you can see there, and What do you want to do with that? We want to find out
Area.
all the sales, area search filter. We want to find out all the sales, let's say in the last 6 months. Hit search, and we want non-strata. For instance, you don't want any buildings, apartments, units, townhouses, that kind of stuff. You're only interested in that, or you can just put any, and you hit search, and there's all the results that pop up. Now, the yellow ones are current market information pieces of data, and the blue ones are properties that come up that are sold within those last 6 months. Now, there's a couple of things you can do with this data. You can keep the property keys, which is the unique identifier for all these properties, and then you can plug that into the search bar, which I'll show you how to do that in a minute, or you can download as a CSV file. Or again, you can just press the print button and keep that as a PDF or a JPEG, sorry. So that's one way of searching. I can clear all of those. That's one way of searching recent sales. So here are all my current market information. I'll get rid of all of those as well. You can also do a polygon. So in other words, I don't want just a simple circle because it may include a side of the road or a beach side where that'll inflate the property value. So same thing as the other search measuring tool. You create a polygon, which is a whatever shape you want it to be, and you can do the same thing. You extract all the sales from the last 6 months, and you can go back as far as you want, or you can do 7 to 15 years.
Sure. And Martin, is that only for sales, or can you select a particular area and it pulls up all the properties that are in that selected area?
That one there, those are sales, radius search, and polygon search. So if we do, again, if we section off an area, you can see that it's area search filter, last sale at the moment. Yeah. So as I've said, we're developing it, and if there's enough requests for a certain feature that we want to see happen, but like I said, there's plenty of different ways of achieving that result. So you can search in the search bar. So if we switch back to here, if I switch back into our search bar, and you go into, you can hit a suburb, and you can search for that suburb, that street, or property. So there are different ways of doing that. I mean, we can definitely put it as a suggestion that we'd like to have a measuring tool to be able to extract, show me all the owners in that polygon. And I believe the polygon on the right side, no, that's just for measuring. So yes, that's how you do that.
That's cool.
So what I'll do now is I'll show you the Elasticsearch, what we like to refer to as the Elasticsearch, which again is a unique ability on national property data to be able to do stuff that to get to the information as quickly as possible, but to also to find out multiple factors within the one search without having to. So I know I've used a few of the other providers. You have to extract it to a CSV file, and then you have to filter, you have to manipulate the data. Whereas I'll show you in national property data, you can do that straight on the screen and manipulate your data, find out what you're looking for, and then just keep the results that are meaningful to you, as opposed to having all these CSV files that you've had or spreadsheets. This way, you'll be able to just have the information that you need straight at hand. So let's go ahead and have a look at with the filters. So if you see the filters here, this little button, more filters, you can see that you can narrow down the sale date, settlement date, price for rent, for sale, area. There's a whole bunch of different search criteria that you can put in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up here, I'm going to set my suburb that I'm interested in, one that I prepared earlier, Sanssouci, which is a French name, which means no worries. I don't know if anyone was familiar with that. So we've set the suburb. We're going to set the sale date here for, the classic 7 to 15 years ago. So as in, it's probably not been developed. That property that we looked at in French's Forest, that one has been completely renovated. Let's look for something that is not renovated and potentially not renovated. So we'll go back to 2007. So if you click on the year, you've got some preset here for dates, but you can also manually do it by going back to 2022. You click on that, sorry, and then you can choose 2007. Then we'll go back to the 1st of January, hit OK, and we'll do the same thing for the end date. So we'll click 2022. We'll go back to 2015 and December 31st. That way we get that whole year in. Hit OK. So we've set our parameters for the date. And as you see here, filters, we've got 3 there that are set. And as you compile the filters, you can see how much, you can see that they're adding up. So we can also use area. Let's say I'm interested in something above 700 meters. I don't want to deal with anything below that. Now you can play with this as you wish, and do what you want, but I'll set that as such. Also looking at anything 10 meters of a frontage, 10 meters and up. Lot count, we'll go with 2+. So anything more than 2 lots. So that way we know we can subdivide, and we'll keep it at non-strata. So that means it's not strata yet. Does that make sense up to now?
Yep, good for me. And so
Great.
We've created this quite a fairly detailed filter.
Yeah, very specific.
So let's see what comes out.
Yeah, let's see how it goes. So at any point, you can clear the filters. You can get rid of all of them in one foul swoop. And I suggest you do that before every search. That way you don't have a filter setting that comes through and you go, why am I not finding what I'm looking for? So let's hit search and we'll see what that comes up with. We've got 5 properties. Now, as you said, pointed out, Cheryl, it's a very specific search. Now we can throw the net wider. We can throw it, make it even more narrow. But here are our results. And so, as I said earlier, you can really start to manipulate the data on screen without having to export to CSV. But you can. The option is there if you want to. You can move these around as well. Again, this is a unique feature to national property data. And we can even pin that one, which means I've put all the addresses on the left. As I scroll to the right, that address, we can still see which one that corresponds to. The other thing you can do, and I can see here parcel lot count is there, but you can edit the columns. Let's say you want to get rid of stuff like photo count, not interested. Let's say I wanted to add sale price, et cetera, et cetera. What I want to do here is I've got the parcel lot count already. Let's look at frontage count and frontage length. So right now it's added those 2 columns. Now it'll put them at the back end, frontage count and parcel lot count. That's a bit more important for me, so I'm going to move them over a little bit, get it more involved in my view. I don't want to pin it, but I'll put it there, and do the same thing with frontage length. Move it over and put it somewhere closer to my start. Oh, it's pinned it. There we go. Now we're looking at, and again, like anything in a spreadsheet, you can filter it, or sort it from the smallest to the biggest, or the other way around. If we look at property type, there's one here, property type. One is house. But if you had a whole bunch, you can say, well, just show me the property type, house. So you'd filter it to house, and it would just show you that one. But you can see there how it can be very handy in terms of manipulating the data and looking at it the way you like to look at it. And it'll remember it every time you go into this view. Now, we've had fun with these properties. We've manipulated the information. Let's get them all onto a map. So this will plot them on a map, which I will show you on the tab. Okay, cool. You can see them. So now we can actually get a better idea of where they sit, and we can zoom in and have a look at these properties. So as you can see here, this one came up as a double lot, but it's almost like a battle axe block here. And as we go along, we can have a look at other properties that are double lots. So all of these have been exploited, but if we, developed. But if we look here, there was one sort of in the middle, or maybe I excluded it by going too wide a search. Yep. Let's, here it is, number 5. So if we go zoom in on that one, we can see that that house is on 2 lots because it's got those 2 lines. Now we can measure that one and find out what the 2 frontages are and the combined frontage. So we can see that potentially that could be subdivided. I mean, there's a massive house on there, so you probably wouldn't want to do it, but that's how you do that. Now, one thing I didn't show you, and I'll go back to the list view. You can have a look at this one, grid view. So there's different ways of seeing. People like to see a thumbnail or a bigger picture. So you can have a look at it either on grid view, or if you look at list view, there's 3 different options there. So standard, compact, and comfortable. Now, comfortable will give you these little thumbnails. So if you know what you're looking for and you see the little thumbnail and you go, yes, that's the one, you can then have a look at those different list view. Again, there's something that some people might find that extremely useful. Other people, it won't make a difference, but it's something unique that National Property Data offers. So you can have that information at your fingertips and the way you want it as well. So if we were to have a look at the map again, so we've seen these properties on the map, and again, we can put in our zoning to see what kind of zoning those properties sit in. So that pink from memory is special, I think. But let's go back to the legend, and we can see that that is zoned as special, whatever that means for there. Again, your measuring tool, we had a look at that. We can have a look at, I haven't shown you this. Let's go back to 6 map. So we're on the normal map. But I can show you on the map layers, themes, you can see what has sold on this map in the last 6 months. So you can get an idea of what it sold for if you click on it, right? This one here, we can see that the last sale, if we look for the one that happened 6 months ago, we can see that this one sold for $830,000 on the 15th of October. And we can see some information on that. We can even click into the property photos for that one. So a 2-bed, 1-bath, 1-car sold for $830,000 in October, just a few months ago. We can also, this is what I was showing you before, see this little button here, copy property keys. We can click on that. Then we go back into our search bar, clear all our filters, and then we go down to unique, and we can put in all of those property keys and hit search, and it'll show us all the information that we wanted out of that one map, that one little view there. We've got all the properties that are there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that sounds and right at the moment, there's, and personally, I've still got to get used to the whole property keys thing.
Yeah,
but we know that there's a way to do that.
The other thing, sorry, Cheryl, before I forget, when we look at those, right, we put all of those in, all those unique keys. I can save that search. So I can say, these are my opportunities in Sans Souci, and I can save that search, and it'll keep it for the next time I come in. You can see here on your landing page, when you log into NPD, you can see that you've got all your saved searches and your sorry, I cut. Were there any further questions on those searches?
No, that was all.
Okay.
That was all good. So I guess from a as a developer, and I look at it, I go, okay, I want to find, and typically it will be, so I've decided on a particular council, and then I've narrowed it down to a particular suburb. And let's pull a suburb out and say I've got my, I want to be able to develop a site that can fit 6 to 8 townhouses. So I might need 2,000 square meters. For example, I don't mind consolidating lots. How do we do that on national property data?
Okay, so let's look at which suburb would you like to look at? Should we do?
Somewhere. Let's do a Lake Macquarie suburb. That's a sort of a council area.
Yeah. Okay.
So what's a good one around Lake Macquarie? Oh, actually, I'll just shout one out, Adamstown or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
South Wales.
Wales, yeah.
Okay, so you can see there, it says property information ownership, 2,977 results. Current market information, 284.
Just a moment, Martin. Did it pop up in a new page? Because it's not showing on the screen. Or is it just me?
I bet you it won't show as I'm typing it in, sort of the type ahead. But can you see that now? Adamstown,
yeah.
2289, and it's got, it's just the suggestion that comes up. So we click on that. Now you see my filters. I've got 2 filters already. So I can see all of these. So we've got to clear all of them out. And now I've only got 1 filter, which is the suburb that we're searching for. So then you wanted to find something 2,000 meters?
2,000 square meters and above an area, yep.
Yep.
I'm just pulling these out from wherever. So
Sure,
let's say
sure.
2,000. Yeah.
What else would you like to search? Vacant land?
Zoning.
Zoning. Okay. So that would be in plan information. And what kind of zoning can you, there's a whole bunch. So if you see here, it's Queensland, but we're looking at,
Can we pick several different types of zoning?
Yeah. So I find it very easy to just do like a search, and then we can see medium. I'm wondering.
Let's just pop in low, medium density.
Yeah. Let's change to New South Wales. That way it will adjust accordingly.
Yeah, fantastic.
So if we do, I'll just punch in low density or low medium.
Sorry,
R3.
R3. Yeah.
There we go.
Medium density residential. Pop that in.
Yep. Did you want any kind of sale date, or shall we see if we do the search and see? I'll just leave it on. No, that doesn't matter. See results. So it's come up with 12 properties. Now,
there we go.
We can look at it as a grid view. So we can see if there's any kind of marketing information for those properties.
And then we can see it from a map view as well. So we can see how close it is to things or whichever.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we select all of them and then we chuck them into the map, and I'll share this tab. All right.
And it's all the little things in blue. Is that right?
Correct. Now I've left some map layers, themes. I've left that on. So you remember I said that when you leave something, it remembers. So I like to clear it off. That way we start on a clean slate, and we're on 6. So that's good. That's pretty recent. And we can have a look at these properties here. So we can see that it's come up with these. I can click on that one and it gives me information. So that was sold. The last sale was in 1992 for $61,000. And then as we zoom out, we can look at, there's other properties that'll come up. But, in our search, we could have further defined, just show me vacant land. Obviously here, there probably wouldn't be much. Let me just zoom out so we have a better idea of, there we go. And what you can do is have a look down the line here and go, okay, well, That looks like an apartment. This one here, 40 Park Avenue, Adamstown. By doing this, I can center the map over it. Okay, so that's some kind of church or something. So let's scroll down until we get to, here we go. What's this one? Ooh, 2,000 meters. Let's center the map on that one, which is the number 5. And that's that one there that we had a look at its neighbor earlier.
Oh, okay. I like how they've got a little centering tool as well.
Yeah, so you can do that. Another thing, obviously, you can copy all these property keys to keep it as a search. You can download all these results, or you can just clear it off. But then you can also use all these measuring tools to see, how big that block of land is. Let's see if we can find another one here. This one here. That's a hectare. Wow. Number 9, which we can see is centered on the map.
Which I think belongs to the school.
Yeah. Gosford. Let's see this one here on number 12. So if we click on that one, 2,000 square meters, 2,317. If we zoom in, we can have a better idea of what that one looks like. And it looks like a residential property. But because there's that's all 3 buildings on the one lot sort of thing. But because there hasn't been a sale recorded against that for quite some time, or it's a new lot that has been subdivided, there's not much information on that one. But if we grab that property key and we go back into our other screen and we clear off all our filters, and then we just put in that one property key. Now, I know that some of the one of the things that the dev team are working on is to be able to link directly to this page from the property. So that's something that's in the works. In the meantime, this is a bit of a workaround, but it's not that many clicks really when you think about it. So if we scroll down, you can see that, this looks like a pretty new subdivision, and the data is still flowing in from that. One last thing I want to show you.
Sorry, Martin, before you do that, can we go back to the map view?
Yep.
And I just wanted to go through just the little icons that were right at the top.
Yep. So here are the ones that we searched. So you click on that, it'll show you all the ones with that search parameter that we put in. So 2,000 square meters plus in Adamstown.
I think it might just be me again on my screen.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah, there we are. Cool. So you see so the blue, can we just go through each of these little icons?
Yeah, sure.
And explain what?
Yeah, so this is the marked properties. Those are the ones that came up in that search that we saw. This is a marked sale. So if you've marked something and you want to have a look at that sale, that's what that does. Marked lease, etc. This is the marked current market information. So in other words, I don't know if you remember that search that we did with the radial search that showed us everything within that radius. And then that'll show us if there are any CMIs or current market information. So if that property has been listed or any of the properties in that radius search, that's where that comes up. So property tab, we haven't clicked on any properties, but if I click there, there's your property. That's the specific property I'm looking at. So that's that tab. And then a sale. So if there was a sale, I could click on it and it would come up, a lease. And this is the current market information that I'm targeting.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so look, there's a lot of stuff to take in, and sometimes it little by little when you chip away at it. So if it's okay with you, I'd love to take you through just the automatic CMA if we've got a few minutes.
Yeah, we do. We certainly do. That's a good way to start to round this all up.
Yeah, so there was a property. Well, let's go back to our property that we looked at the very beginning, 19 Adams Street, Benches Forest. We'll click into that one. Ooh, remember our filters are set here, so I've got to get rid of this this one, or else it'll come up, and see results. So we go into this property. Now there's two ways of doing a CMA. One is automatic and the other one is manual. So the automatic one is you click on this button, and I will share this tab. So what it does is it starts the CMA report builder. So right here we can see that it, the estimated price is this much. And you remember when you were asking, can you adjust it in case we know that it is actually a 5-bed instead of a 4-bed? So I've just changed it from 4 to 5, and it's increased, and it's adjusted the AVM and the CMA. So it's gone to get other properties that match accordingly. So it's gone from 2.1 as a 4-bedroom, make it a 5, and it's 2.5. And it's also adjusted the properties that it's comparing. So it's adjusting the comparables as we go along. We'll put it back to 4. And we can see these properties here. Now, one of the strengths of, and this is again, a relatively unique feature of NPD's CMA and AVM, is I can say, well, that property there, the 31C Adams Street, how does that compare to the 19 Adams Street? Well, we can see that it's 222 meters, whereas that one's 784. This one looks like, because 31C, it's probably a townhouse. I would say, how does your subject compare to this property? I would say better. And as you click better, the estimated price goes up. Now, this is very useful for an agent to be able to have a chat with their owners and say, hey, what do you think about this one? Well, you know what? I'm not sure. So, hey, let's have a look at the pictures. So you can have a look at the pictures, the fittings, and you go, yeah, it is a townhouse, beautifully laid out, but it's not as good as my subject property. So we leave it as our subject property is better. This one here is a 4-bed, 3-bath, 2-car, whereas this one doesn't have a car, on 714, so roughly the same. If we look at those pictures, et cetera, I think you understand what I'm getting at. This one here is not as good, so it's going to pull the price down a little bit. And you can keep going through and adjust as you see fit. Now, we've done that. We go into next. And what this does now is it allows you to, you say you've got a CMA prepared for Cheryl, and that'll populate the cover page saying, hi, Cheryl, this is what I think. You've got a price here. You can change that. You can also edit this text here, change the property description. And then you can see all the, and I'll let you guys play with this, where you can see all the different features. Again, this is the measurements that we saw for that property, how it sits, comparable properties. You can add your personal profile, your office profile, if you were a professional in the industry. There's also on the subject, statistics, you can add all these different, or you can not have any of them on there, but you can deselect. And then let's say we just want the capital growth on there, and it'll show you what it looks like. So you can start to understand the data that you'd like to see in this report that you're building. Let's say, for instance, the dwelling structure. You want to understand what the dwelling structure is in French's Forest versus the bigger LGA of Northern Beaches. Now, for some, that might look and make sense, but you might want to put them all in one graph. If you put it all in one graph, you've got French's Forest here in the middle, and then the greater LGA there. So you can see how these little data points compare to the bigger. So it's pretty cool. You can do that with quite a few of these different settings, etc. And then you create the report, and away you go.
Yeah, because typically I don't think, and I'm thinking of the other software that I've used, and they don't have that sort of information. So I'd need to go somewhere else to pull it into, particularly with demographics and things like that.
So let's have a quick look. I'll share this tab as well, so you can see what this CMA looks like. It'll have a logo, and then the basic property features, and then we look at the CMA. The second page of the CMA, which is the, it has the listing price, but it also has all these steps here that actually have a live link that you can go to. So it tells you a little bit about French's Forest. Now, this is really interesting in terms of data for anyone, because you can get an idea of, okay, well, what is a property in Frenchs Forest? What does that look like? If I were to live in Frenchs Forest or Budrum or Mount Gravatt, what would that look like? And so you get a little bit of information on that suburb, but of course it'll also bring back all of these similar properties sold and comparables that we've had a look at earlier.
Yeah, it's a really neat little report.
Absolutely. Now there's another way to do that as well. So we looked at where we picked the automatic CMA. But if we wanted to do it manually, this is the last thing I'll take you through. Hopefully we'll have enough time. We can have a look at that on map view. So we have, again, our property. We take it out into the map. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit, and I will do a radial search because we want to grab as many comparables around the area. And let's say last 6 months, hit search. And those are your yellow squares of current market information.
We might need to swap screens, Martin.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
I keep forgetting that. Okay, so now we're on the map. I'll start that over if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
So we've got all these. I'll get rid of them. And I will hit this radial search again around our property, number 1 here. We'll hit draw a nice big circle. Then it'll ask me, okay, 6 months. It comes preset. You can change that as you see fit. But it'll bring up all the different current market information as we've seen this marked CMI. Now, if I go back to my property and I click on number 1, the property information, we're looking for 19 Adams, which was, I think it's this one. Let's go back here. There it is. Let's hit center on this one. Sorry, it was number 4. So the reason why I want to come back to this one is because, see this little house? CMA marked properties. So now what it's going to do, if I click on that, it'll go to my CMA, and I'll share this tab as well. It'll go to my CMA report builder, but it will drag in all those comparables. So I'll say, yes, I'm happy to go with that. And it'll drag in all those comparable sales and the recently sold, for lease, et cetera, et cetera. So I can click on that and it'll show me all the recently sold properties around that property the last 6 months. So this one, we call this the manual CMA, but what it does is it takes a bit longer to do because you need to do that extra step of the radial search, but it's a more comprehensive look of what's going on in that area.
Yeah, and you can study each of the properties and all of that to assess whether you'd like to add them to your comparison.
Yes,
awesome.
So for some people, this may be, there's a lot going on and you don't need it, and it's fine. You've got these quick access things. And for others that want to see a complete picture and do everything you can, then that's available as well. So I'll just go back to this screen and I'll shut all of those down. But what I want to do is show you, we have a special offer to you and to your members, people that are on the call today and people watching this.
Offers. We love offers. Thank you.
Yes. So what I'd like to do is offer you and your members a 10% discount if you sign up before the end of the year. So I'll show you on this screen here, share this tab. We've created, so this is very simple. You put in all your details, and then this code here, PDAXMAS 10%, and you hit apply, and it'll take 10% off the price. Now that's valid until the end of the year and only for your members.
Fabulous.
And then we'll be able to see who's signed up, and we'll give you a rundown of that at the end of the year. But I hope that we are able to pique your interest in this particular software, this platform, and let me know if there are any questions.
Absolutely. Any questions, please tag Martin in. There we go. We've got his email here. If you need to contact him directly, if you want to go for another round and answer your specific questions, or tag him in the comment section as well, so he can answer any of your questions directly in the Facebook group. That's been fantastic, Martin. And the truth is, it is a lot to take in just with any new software, and the best thing to do is to take it for a run and a spin and have a play with it. Look at how you use it. Is there any lock-in price? Is that the lock-in price, or is that just a month to month? You can cancel anytime, or is it a 12-month lock-in?
There's no minimum commitment on that. So we understand that sometimes you only need it for a certain stretch. I'm sure you'll find it something that you can use, because you can also use it on your phone. It's mobile adaptive.
That's really handy.
You know, you're at a barbecue or something, and people are talking about, hey, that property is sold about a couple of months ago. You can be the go-to person with all that wonderful information.
Look what I have in my phone.
Oh, let me just check. Oh, you paid how much for this?
All the details. Yeah, that's really good to know as well. And the functionality works the same on the phone to a certain extent.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, obviously, some people find it easier to use it on a laptop or on a desktop. I personally have big fingers, so I don't like anything on my phone in that respect. But I do like the convenience of being able to check it. So it's a little bit of both. But yeah, definitely.
Okay, fabulous. So PDAXMAS 10. That's your discount code, which I think, again, the fact that you don't have to lock into anything is incredibly flexible. So hit that up, have a bit of a play. If you guys like it, use it. It needs to be helpful in your property development research, or just in, if you've got a business that's consistently doing CMAs and all of that, you might want to have a look at this as well. So thank you so much, Martin, for the run through and the test drive. Appreciate you demoing different functions and all of that. So I think
no worries at all.
It's good to see a fresh new software in the marketplace for property. So appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Cheryl, and thank you to everyone for watching. Let us know any feedback. I didn't mention on each page there's a feedback button as well, so you can let us know, hey, this property, this it may have changed or whatever. You can submit feedback. There's also little articles that you can read, little tutorials that you can also tune into. So
awesome.
I'm very keen to find out your feedback and your members, see what they think.
Awesome. Thanks, Martin. You take care of yourself, and we'll see you. Happy Christmas. Merry Christmas. Enjoy a little bit of a break, and we'll see you again in the new year.
Thank you very much to you and all your members as well.
Take care. Take care, Martin. Bye-bye.
Thank you.